Aloha, this is Lisa Lemley with Sun Woman, and today I want to talk about life balance and time management and having an effective life. Just having effective, productive lifestyle. So one of the most important things I feel is to keep the main thing the main thing. I hope you can see that. That comes from Stephen Covey, who's written the book, The 7 Habits of of Highly Effective People. I think that's what it's called. And that is really key. And I wanted to remind you that. I talk to people so often, and they're not moving closer to their big vision in their life because they're doing things, they're not keeping the main thing the main thing. Their vision is not their main thing, even though it's really important to them and it'll make a big difference in their whole being and make their life so much better if they were living their life purpose and their vision. They would be stoked and living a really amazing life, living the dream, as we say sometimes here on Kauai. They're not doing it because they're not keeping the main thing the main thing. They're doing something totally different with their time that's not even related. But if you keep the main thing the main thing, you'll always be making steps, even if it's small incremental steps towards your greater vision and your highest potential. So keep the main thing the main thing. And the next thing that I find to be extremely helpful in being effective is taking the time to schedule and organize and plan. So I actually schedule time to organize and plan. And that goes from taking time, I take time every week. On Sunday usually I plan my week, and then every morning or the night before I write a little list for the next day. Whether it's that same day or the next day, depending on when I do it, in the morning or in the evening. So that's really important. And, you know, being organized helps you know where things are, what you have, and you can be more effective that way. And when you have like a big picture plan, like when you start planning further out, you know a little bit how to strategize your time in certain ways. Like if you know you're going to be taking a trip, you can plan ahead that you're going to be gone during that period, and so you schedule ahead and plan. Then the next thing is do the most important things first. So this means, for me, I find that my most effective time of the day is before 11 o'clock. After 11, I start losing focus, and energy is not as... I'm just not as effective. So what I do is I don't do anything, or I do my best to not do anything that's not the most important thing on my list. Usually I try to limit my list for the day to 3 important things, and I put them in order, and I do the first thing first, and then second one and third one, and I try to do that all before 11 o'clock. So that way, if I don't get a chance to do anything else, someone else has hijacked my time or whatever it is, I can't work anymore. Sometimes that happens. I just can't think. I get a block or whatever, and things just don't flow very easily. I at least have gotten those 3 most important things done, and I'm making major steps towards keeping the main thing the main thing. So doing those most important things first. And I always get like a sense of accomplishment and more confidence in myself and things like that, which helps me continue to be more productive. Then the next thing, I have another page here, is doing one thing at a time. This is sometimes a challenge for me, especially if I open my email too early. I think, oh, what's on my list is to write an email to someone. Well, when I open my email, I see the emails from other people, and I immediately want to respond to those those other people, to those emails, or clean out my inbox or whatever, and it is a distraction. And then, you know, an hour later I'm like, oh, I never sent that email that was on the top of my list. So I try to avoid even doing email until after 11, and I try to focus on just email at that time. So I might, with email can really hijack your time if you haven't noticed, unless that's your main job, you're a personal assistant, and that's what you do. Then fine. Everyone's different. Everyone's things are different. But for me, I try not to do the email until after 11, and then I put focus time in just clearing things out, and I delete as much as I can, and then I can organize it, maybe with flags or different things. You can do that with, you know, mail managers and things, and then go back to those things when you have time, if they take more time. And sometimes what I do is I set a timer for myself, especially if it's something that I don't particularly enjoy or I'm having trouble focusing on. So I'll say, okay, this is what I'll do. I'll set a timer for 30 minutes, and I'll only look at that thing for 30 minutes and nothing else. And that usually helps. When I start multitasking, I've lost it, and it just, I don't even know what happens during that time. Did I really do anything? I wonder sometimes. But, you know, usually you do something. Things get done eventually, but it's not as focused, concentrated, productive, and effective. And then the other thing that people sometimes who are really working hard and have some major goals, they forget to take time to cultivate their inspiration. You need to schedule time off. It's so important to take breaks. So sometimes I find myself, if I don't follow my plan and get everything done, most important things done by 11, then I sometimes go into it's more difficult for me to allow myself this time off for inspiration. So what needs to happen, usually around 2 o'clock, I lose some energy. I kind of need a little break. It gets more, you know, it's hotter at that time. It's really like siesta time here on you know, the Hawaiian Islands. It can be like that, and some other places I've lived. The afternoon, it gets hot and more lethargic feeling, and I just feel like I need a nap sometimes. So for me, instead of just taking a nap, it's better for me to go to the beach and have a walk, breathe the air, and I move my body around, and I see other people, or I you know, just see the beauty of the island, and that inspires me. And while I'm walking and moving my body, I start getting new, fresh ideas to help me, or I can strategize my evening, possibly, to be more effective. And then the other thing that's really helpful is to break large projects into micro steps. Okay, so this helps avoid overwhelm. Once I go into overwhelm, and most people go into overwhelm, they're not very productive or effective. They actually become a lot less effective, and they're stressful, and they're difficult to be around, and you know, it's just not that fun, even for that person, I'm imagining. I mean, it's not fun for me when I'm in overwhelm, and I really am not very effective. So if I take a large project and, you know, again, go back to your taking time to plan, break it into small incremental steps, and then put that on your first things first list. You know, you make sure it's the main thing, and you break it into the smaller pieces, and then you chunk it out. Sometimes, yeah, large projects, you put that on your list as number one. You're never going to get there. That is a key to being overwhelmed, is to take a really huge project and put it on your list as if you're going to do that before 11. There's no way you can do that before 11. It's going to take you 3 months to do that project. So you break it out into steps, and you do the little bite-sized pieces before 11 each day over the next 3 months, and boom, it's done. You have a finished product, or project rather. So those are my suggestions to creating more life balance and being more effective and productive in your day and utilizing your time wisely. And I hope that was helpful for you. Blessings and aloha from Kauai. This is Lisa Lemley with Sun Woman.